Obaseki don tok say Naija police delay of justice for victims dey hinder the fight against gender-based violence. Say na shame if we no fit get feedback from the highest authorities for Naija. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki don tok say e dey pain am say police never still investigate and punish the pipo when rape led to Waila Mozuwa, when be 100-level microbiology student for the University of Benin, come kpai her for inside Redeemed Church for Benin City, Edo State for the year 2020. Obaseki wey tok dis one for the end of project workshop when dem tag strengthening the evidence and response pathways for gender-based violence (GBV) wey shele for inside Government House Benin on Tuesday, come tok say the delay on top justice for victims dey hinder the fight against GBV for the state.
2 years after Waila Obaseki was brutally murdered in the city, we have still not been able to prosecute the perpetrators. The Inspector General of Police insisted that this case should be moved to headquarters, which was done. As we speak, investigations are stalling. The investigation teams keep asking for money to do their work. This is really, really sad. And we will not be able to make progress in our fight against gender-based violence except we get the support from the very highest authorities in Nigeria. I am shocked that with the interest which the President has shown in gender-based violence crimes, that the police has not been able to use this very, very sad incident which shook the whole world as an example to show that it has the capacity to deal with this sort of violent crimes in our society. So I'm using this opportunity to appeal to the Inspector General of Police of our country to please use his good offices to ensure that his men do what they are constitutionally expected to do and ensure that we conclude the investigations and prosecute the perpetrators of this heinous offense. Because if this is not done, then all our efforts, all the work we have put in to date will come to nothing. Because people will say, at the end of the day, nothing will come out of this. So I think it is very, very important that this message is sent very clear to the highest authorities of the police force of our country. I am sure, knowing the kind of IG we have, that he will do the right thing.
Obaseki come promise say government go continue to protect women for the state as government don create budget wey go help the fight. Say dem dey build GBV center for GRA for inside Benin. E come launch the gender-based violence training manual.
Edo State has made adequate budgetary commitments that will sustain the fight against gender-based violence, such that perpetrators will be adequately punished and survivors will get adequate care through a carefully orchestrated set of interventions. As has been pointed out, we are looking at beyond the life of this administration. We are putting in place the institutional arrangements, including the infrastructure, to deal with GBV cases. Construction is in full gear of the GBV center, which is located in the Senator Desi in Haneri Danjuma Center here in the GRA. In fact, this morning I paid a brief visit to see how work is progressing, and I'm very confident that before the end of this year, that building will be completed with all the amenities. Last night, I was on a call with some partners in America to see how we can get support to manage this infrastructure and these institutions we have put in place on a sustainable basis. And those conversations have gone on very well. So I'm very confident that all of this we are putting in place will be a collaboration between most of you in this room here and government. And that way ensure that even beyond the life of this administration, what we are doing now continues. It is also very important for me to commend the efforts of our First Lady, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, and her entire team who have midwifed this process, and for the trust which they've been able to get from our partners. This is yet another display of the personal commitment of Her Excellency to ensuring that we make Edo great again, and that this is not just done by mere words, but real actions. I thank you and congratulate you and your team again for this amazing work you have done. Once again, I want to say a big thank you to the West African Office of the Ford Foundation and the Nigerian Academy of Science. We look forward to further cooperation on issues of gender-based violence and other related matters, as there is a lot of work to do. As a government, it is our constitutional responsibility to protect the vulnerable in our society, particularly women, and we will continue to do so. I have the pleasure of formally launching Gender-Based Violence Training Manual, which has been prepared by the Edo Task Force on Gender-Based Violence.
Number one lady for Edo and Chemo for Edo State Gender-Based Violence Management Committee, Betsy Obaseki Konya, say the state don't make progress for GBV matter. Say gender-based violence center go tanda for primary health care centers for the 192 wards we did for the state.
Very sadly, recall how this whole journey started. Like I've always said, this whole walk around GBV happening around the country started here in Benin City, in Edo State, with the death of one of our beloved daughters, a young female student of the University of Benin, Vera Owaila Omozoa. It's with deep sadness that I recall that incident and remember her death, which, with God's intervention, has yielded, brought about the prevention of of many deaths that would have happened, if this thing isn't happening, what we're doing with the fight against GBV. So Waila is one who, like the Bible would say, she died. It's like a seed that had to die and be buried to sprout again and bring about life. So Waila's death has brought about life to many young girls and boys like herself, to many women and men. So if she hadn't died, this fight probably wouldn't have happened. And so we are grateful to her soul, and I believe she's resting with God, her creator, and he allowed it to happen so that her death can bring about the deliverance, salvation, and the life of many, preventing the death of many citizens of Nigeria. Because it was upon Waila's death that I carried out a national campaign, which got the attention of other first ladies and the attention of people in government, governors and the president. And it gave birth to what we now call Nigerian Governors' Wives Against Gender-Based Violence. It was when we as Governors' Wives got together and began this campaign, we took it to the Governors' Forum, and the governors, joined us, acceded to all our requests, part of which is that GBV committees, mechanisms must be set up in every state, and the wives of the governors would chair these GBV committees, because we realized that in some states, including Edo, where they already had some mechanism set up, they were not as effective as we, the governor's wives, would like for it to happen. And we realized that if we were allowed to chair, this body, we would, bring about a lot more impact, because we are the ones who are closest to the governors and would get them to accede to as many of our requests as possible, which is what is happening. Owala's death also led to the practical decree from the president to all state governors to to domesticate the violence against people's prohibition law. At the time when we started this fight, a year and a half ago, 2020, May 13, 2020 was when Iloala died. The Nigerian Governors' Wives Against GBV came to birth in the month of June, a month after Iloala's death in 2020. So as at the end of last year, counting, before our collaboration, we only had 12 states in Nigeria, including Edo, that had domesticated the VAP law. But with our work together, we have 34 states across Nigeria that have domesticated that law. So for us in Edo State, having this close of project workshop is a day also for us to celebrate our contribution to national development and interventions for the good of the people, generally in Nigeria, not just in Edo State. It is also still sad for us to know that in spite of our work, which is highly commendable, a year and a half isn't a long enough time for you to get the results that you desire to see. So we have that in mind, and we're pushing and determined to continue to push and work hard, even after the Ford Foundation project, to continue in that strong path and passion to fight this menace and bring it to minimal, if possible, zero level in our states and hopefully across the country. The responsiveness of the state to GBV has attracted various stakeholders, such as the Ford Foundation, to collaborate with the state in this fight against GBV. We've had the UN Women also come on board to support us. We've had the Westminster Foundation for Democracy also come to support us. We've had ROLAC also on board with us. So we've had like 3 or 4 development partners, international bodies, who have recognized the work, the little work we've done so far in Edo State, and have come to back us and support us to help us do more and achieve our goal. As part of the effort to fight GBV, His Excellency, the Governor, signed the reviewed Violence Against People's Prohibition Law. You recall that in 2018, we had the law, VAP law, instituted in Edo State, and then subsequently we had the need to review the law and to make it more up to date and have the overseen body, which is the Gender-Based Violence Committee, embedded in the law. And this was done, it was reviewed, and in June 2021, which is last year, the governor assented to that bill and has made it a law in Edo State. Part of our work as a committee fighting gender-based violence is to inform, to do as much campaign as possible to inform the people of Edo State, the citizens, of this law, to make them aware that there's such a law, so that victims, potential victims, would know what to do and how to go about seeking justice, and then potential perpetrators would also know what the consequences would be and hopefully restrain themselves from committing such crimes. As part of our deliverables on this project, GBV committees have been established, and we have held quarterly meetings to provide coordination for all efforts for providing strategic support and intervention. Our campaign continued beyond meetings and trainings. We took the message to the 3 senatorial districts through town hall meetings and advocacy visits. This has led to improved community buy-in. Today, in most rural communities, the awareness level of the ills of GBV is increasing, and as well as a level of level of reported cases are increasing. We can confidently say that though it has been a very challenging journey, we have started seeing lots of improvement in the care of victims and survivors of GBV. And we also have increased prosecution and conviction of perpetrators of GBV. You know that we have a sexual assault referral center, which is here in Benin City, and it's fully equipped to do the work. The governor has been kind enough to give us a vehicle or 2 to support their work, and also to provide stipends for everyone working there to encourage them and encourage them to do more. So we're going to be paying stipends to all of you working in the SAC Center. And when we had the governor's wife's visit here in Edo State, the governor was gracious enough, because I needed a serious project to present to them, and the governor approved the building of a new gender-based violence house in the shelter, which is somewhere in GRA in Edo State, and I'm happy to announce to you all that work has commenced. The building is ongoing. And the governor has also approved the creation of gender-based violence sexual assault referral centers in every local government, in the major primary health center in every local government. So we're taking this fight to the hinterland, to the local government. And what he has said is his plan is eventually to have one in every ward. There'll be a PHC in every ward, and in every PHC where it exists, there'll be a place, part of it will attend to GBV issues.
Ebo Sereme Obinome, TMC TV News.